High school student Yuichi cherishes his close circle of friends, composed of 4 classmates, Yutori, Saaragi, Shibe, and Tenji. However, when the funds for the upcoming school trip are stolen, the incident causes Saaragi and Shibe, who had been tasked with collecting the money, to distance themselves from the rest of their class. Soon after, Yuichi and his friends are deceived into meeting up and knocked unconscious by unknown assailants. After waking, the group find themselves confined in a white room with controversial figure Manabu-kun, who reveals that one of the 5 has gathered them together to clear their personal debt of 20 million yen. To pay off the amount, they must participate in a variety of psychological games that will test the true nature of their friendship and humanity. Distressed and isolated from the outside world, Yuichi and his friends need to cooperate to complete the games. But as their concealed feelings and problematic pasts begin to surface, their seemingly unbreakable bond may soon shatter into irreparable pieces. Spoilers ahead. Like and subscribe. The school trip is a bit expensive, requiring 70k yen from each student. However, wanting to go with his friends, Yuichi works harder on his part-time job to earn enough. At school, Makoto tell him father could have gave him the money, but Shiho scolds Makoto as saying that is condescending. Tenji calms them all and they end up congratulating Yuichi for his hard work. The 2 million for the trip end up being stolen. Standing in front of the class, Shiho explains she put the money in her locker, but they were stolen. The next day, she and Makoto stop coming to school, and other students start rumors that they may have stolen it. That night, Yuichi receives a letter from Shiho, stating she wants to tell him something important and will be waiting at the school gate at 11 p.m. Yuichi rushes to the school gate, only to find all of his friends there. Shiho scolds him for being late after calling all of them there. She shows him the letter he sent her, stating for a moment she thought it was a confession letter. Yuichi realizes they have been set up, but in that moment, Yuichi gets knocked out by a taser. Yuichi dreams of his father telling him that money are the most important thing in the world, but his mother telling him that friends are more important. Yuichi and his friends wake up in a white room. A person dressed as mascot enters the room and greets them. Yutori recognizes the mascot to be Manabu-kun from an old late-night anime, who steals children's treasures. Manabu then decides to skip his introduction and tells them they will be playing a simple game with him. Each game they clear, they will be getting 2 million yen and will be able to repay their 20 million yen debt. Yuichi is shocked, but Manabu explains that one of them owns the debt. Tenji states it's a crime to kidnap them, but Manabu states they wish to talk and already paid the 2 million entry fee, making Yuichi realize that one of them must have stolen the school trip money to pay the fee. Tenji wonders what will happen if they don't play and Manabu explains he will release them, but won't return the entry fee. The person in debt will have to return the money himself, but if they play, they can split the debt of 4 million each. If they lose, the debt won't increase, but each will be stuck with the remaining on their individual debt. Manabu then gives them 5 minutes to decide what they want to do. Shiho states they shouldn't try to figure out who was in debt, as they were likely in serious trouble and were trying to find a way out and wanted help from their friends. Everyone agrees on that, but Yuichi is still unsure. Manabu confronts him, asking him if he wanted to know what the debt is for to see who he shouldn't trust and if the money are more important for him. Recalling his mother and father, Yuichi states that his friends are more important. Since they agreed to play, Manabu takes them to the first game. In a classroom, Manabu gives everyone a tag with their names and explaining that on the back, there is the money they own. Each one has -4 million and their goal is to reduce it to 0. They cannot show the number to anyone, otherwise the number will double, but can say the number to others. The first game is Kokiri-san game, and they will place their fingers on a large 10 yen coin, moving it to the answer which they think is right. The first question is Hokkaido, Japan's northernmost prefecture. Manabu then asks Kokiri-san to tell the answer and the coin moves to yes, causing Kokiri-san to raise its hands. Manabu tells Yutori to try moving it to no and as she tries, the coin moves to no with Manabu explaining that even if one person's answer is different, Kokiri-san will favor the minority. They are not allowed to talk to each other and in the end if they fail the game, the one with the biggest debt will take a penalty and take everyone's debt. Manabu gives them a final advice that they should never doubt their friends, otherwise they will never have a happy ending. The game starts and the first question is read by Makoto, who makes a small grin. He reads the question asking if the tallest mountain in Japan is Mount Fuji. The group thinks this would be easy, but then the coin moves to no, making them give wrong answer. Shiho almost loses it, but Tenji and Yuichi stop her to not break the rules of talking. The second question is read by Shiho, asking if 1 plus 1 is equal to. Yuichi believes this is even easier, but the coin again moves to no, making them give incorrect answer again. Yuichi then figures someone is a traitor, but wonders why. Yuichi recalls recently Makoto had a bruise, explaining he tried to kiss Shiho and she hit him. He asks Yuichi to talk to Shiho to forgive him. Yuichi does, but Shiho agrees only if he tells her a secret, and Yuichi agrees to tell her one of his secrets. The third question is read by Tenji, asking if the English word for Nihon is Japan, but they again answer no and fail the question. Yuichi is next to read, but opening the envelope, he notices there is no question, making him realize he needs to think of a question himself. However, he then notices a small print stating that if the coin moves to yes, he will clear the game, but if it moves to no, the reader's debt will be halved. Yuichi then believes that his friends chose easy answers and gave incorrect answers themselves to have their debt. Maria and Tsukino are observing the game. Seeing Yuichi's face, Maria believes he now doubts his friends. Tsukino states that humans endure difficulties only when they see others enduring the same. Yuichi wonders if he should choose yes, but that will only reduce 400k yen from his debt and end the game. Tsukino states no team had cleared the Kokiri-san game after reaching the fifth question. Yuichi wonders if he should say no and recalls a moment with Yutori, who tells him that the old bullies are still bullying her from time to time. Yuichi didn't know how to encourage her, but Yutori is fine as while he is good friends with the rest, she considers Yuichi as her only true friend. He is the only one who calls her Kokorogi, since he is the only one that close to her. Yuichi then reads the question asking if there are 7 days in a week, thinking that he must think of Yutori who is the fifth reader. He chooses yes, but the coin still moves to no. Yuichi wonders if someone is trying to dump all the debt to Yutori. Yuichi then realizes that if the fifth question is the same, it will all balance out, but he then suspects the fifth question is different. Maria and Yukino realize that Yuichi figured it out and that the fifth question doesn't state any conditions for reducing debt and is a yes or no question. Yutori then reads the fifth question, asking if they will be friends forever. Tsukino states that if this was the first question, everyone would have said yes, but they are now doubting each other. Maria gets excited that Group C will be eliminated in round 1. Before they are able to vote, Yuichi talks, asking if they all know what color is Shiho's underwear today. Yuichi asks the group if they want him to tell them the color of the underwear, and he will do if they ask him. However, he knows they won't talk as otherwise they will double their debt which they worked so hard to have. Shuichi figured that someone is trying to dump all the debt to Yutori, but as he now talked, his debt is doubled, making him the one with the most debt. However, if it's game over, the traitor will be the big loser, because on Yuichi's card is said that there is change of rules and the penalty will go to the one with the least debt. Maria is surprised, but Tsukino explains he is bluffing, but there is a chance they will believe him. She tells Maria to imagine that she is the traitor and that she was going to hunt down Yutori, but realized she is now hunted. But you cannot speak, as that will be a confession that you have the least debt. Yuichi then states he is joking and there is no traitor, and wants to return to the game, where the answer is yes to the fifth question. However, as he makes a serious look, Yukino recognizes it as a final threat, asking all to say yes or the traitor will be the one to die. The coin then moves to yes and they manage to clear the game. Yukino notes that they cleared the game, but Yuichi is paying a price. However, he managed to plant the seed of doubt that one of them is a traitor. Yuichi wonders on how to find the traitor. He asks all what is their current debt and Tenji states it should be the same as everyone else's, 3.6 million. They are worried about Yuichi's debt, but he explains it's the same as he managed to cut it in half, before doubling it, so it's 3.6 million too. Yuichi states their answers didn't match likely because they are nervous, but wants them to trust each other in the second game. Manabu calls them for the second game, but Yuichi states he needs to tie a shoelace and stays behind for a moment. He doesn't believe they all have the same debt and decides to check their question cards, but notices that some of the text starts to disappear. Maria and Yukino note that he realized it, but explain they use special ink that will disappear after certain amount of time and cover the condition of each question card. Shiho joins Yuichi, sharing that she also believes there is a traitor and asks him to tell her who he is considering. Yuichi reveals he considers her, due to what she said before the game of not needing to look for whose debt it was, as Shiho would never forgive the thief who stole the school trip money. Shiho then apologizes, stating she believed Yuichi was the one who stole the money. Yuichi gets angry, thinking she pitied him for being poor, but Shiho reveals it's because she likes him. Shiho no longer believes he stole it and confesses that her debt isn't 3.6 million, but 7.6 million. Shiho believes that in the moment she almost yelled, she made a small noise, which doubled her debt. While he was likely trying to protect Yutori during the fifth question, he ended up actually protecting Shiho. She then states she won't betray Yuichi and will believe him no matter what. Yukino states that Yuichi is sharp when money are involved, but that isn't enough to win the game, as there are others willing to destroy that friendship. Revealing that Tenji was eavesdropping on Yuichi and Shiho. For the second game, they head up to the school's roof. There Manabu comes out as Manabu-sensei, stating that they are keeping secrets from each other and today they will be revealing them. Manabu reveals they are being watched by gods and the second game would be Badmouth Sugaraku, a game where you win by taking your friends to hell. They will be writing secrets on cards. The cards can be empty or contain lies, but if found to lie, they start from the beginning and the number of spaces they move will be determined by the gods survey. Makoto has a hard time understanding the rules and Manabu decides to explain it better. They enter a room, where they have 3 minutes to write bad things about others. Manabu then collects them and reads a bad mouth for everyone and gives some examples. The gods then vote which one is the most unforgivable, and they vote for Makoto having a wig as first place, letting him move 5 spaces, while the last one moves only 1 space. However, the first to reach the goal will suffer a massive loss and when at least one person reaches the goal, they clear the game and each will receive 400k yen. However, anyone remaining in the game will receive an additional 1 million debt. They won't have to play the third game and can go home for a while. If they all turn blank cards, there won't be a gods survey and all move 1 space. They can do that for each round and finish the game together, but then all will be forced to play the third game. The first period starts and all cards are blank. They move 1 space and end on a square stating those who step on it, lose 100k yen. Yuichi figures that there are 60 spaces and if they step on each, it will be an additional 6 million yen debt. The second round is again only blanks, but the next square takes 500k from them. Manabu then states that all the debt they collect during this game will be given to the one who first reaches the goal. In the third round, one of the cards isn't blank, saying that Shiho likes Yuichi, but she used to date Tenji. The gods then vote for Shiho, making her move 5 spaces, while the rest 1 space each. Shiho ends on a square losing another 500k yen, while the rest on a square that doesn't take or give them anything. Makoto wonders why Yuichi is so calm, as he didn't know that Shiho likes him. As Makoto likes her, he wonders if they mocked him. Tenji tries to calm Makoto, stating he knows Shiho well. Shiho then states they are childhood friends with Tenji due to their fathers being close friends. One day they decided that Shiho and Tenji should marry and Shiho and Tenji pretended to date in front of them, until Tenji's father died 2 years ago and Tenji changed schools. Makoto then states that's a lie and Manabu confirms that if they had no feelings it would be a lie. Shiho confirms they didn't had feelings for each other, but Tenji states he had and still loves her, which is why he always gets pissed when Makoto's thoughtless attitude towards Shiho. Makoto states Tenji should have told him and he would have stayed off Shiho, but Tenji explains he couldn't as he knew that Shiho likes Yuichi. Makoto then wonders why he wrote it as only they knew about their past, but Tenji explains that he didn't as naturally he would be the first suspect and it's likely Makoto who wrote it. Hearing some rumors and wanting to confirm them. Before things escalate more, Yuichi manages to calm them all down. Yutori approaches Shiho, stating that all the boys fall for her and that eventually Yuichi too will fall for her. In the fourth round, there are 3 non-blank cards. Manabu reads that Makoto took baths with his mother until junior high, Yuichi once didn't bath for a week, and that Shiho had a plastic surgery. The gods then vote Shiho as first, Yuichi as second and Makoto as third. Makoto doesn't believe the plastic surgery, but Shiho wonders if he would still like her if it was true. On the 5th period, there is only 1 submission, but Manabu states it's Stuzy 1. Manabu then reads that Yutori engaged in compensated dating in junior high. Hearing that, Yutori starts to scream and cry, asking Shiho why she wrote it as she was the only one who knew it. Makoto realizes that must mean she sold her body to adult men, and for someone who isn't a virgin, she looks quite innocent. Tenji gets angry and hits Makoto, telling him to stop talking. Tenji then asks Yuichi to look after Yutori and keep her company. The god votes place Yutori first and the rest is 5th, making her move 5 spaces, while the rest 1 space each. Manabu reveals the current positions with Shiho leading with 13 spaces and Tenji being last with 5 spaces. He reminds them that when someone reaches the goal, the game will end, but the goal person will get everyone's debt, which at the moment it's 5.5 million yen. Yutori tells Yuichi that she really needed the money and the bullying she gets now is not even comparable to the one she had in her junior high. No one helped her and the only thing that stopped the bullying was she giving money to the bullies, which made them be nice to her. As she needed money, she ended up going on a paid date with an adult man. At first they were only going out to various places and dinner, but soon he started to want she to cosplay and take pictures of her in various outfits. The man then wanted to touch her and she agreed, but got scared partway and ran away. The gods don't believe her story, but Yutori insists it's true and that she is still a virgin and doesn't want Yuichi to abandon her. Maria asks Tsukino if a girl's virginity is important and she states the only people who get upset about it are virgins themselves. She is half joking, but explains that those who believe they are not dirty, see people who can't live pure and righteous lives, as filth and trash. As they can't forgive the smallest mistake in others. Whatever he believes or forgives Yutori, will depend on how aware he is on his own impurity. Yuichi tells Yutori that it doesn't matter if he believes her or not, but no matter her past, he will not leave her. He then whispers something to Yutori, which makes the rest believe it was a love confession. Tsukino states that Yutori wasn't even fazed and forgave her, so he must be aware of his impurity and something must have happened in his past. Yutori is ready to continue, but wishes to stay close to Yuichi and away from Shiho. Tenji wonders if Shiho knew about Yutori and she confirms, but explains she didn't know everything. Shortly after they entered high school, she saw Yutori surrounded by students from another school. She beat them up and took Yutori, but one of the boys told her that Yutori isn't worth protecting and will do anything for money. Worried, she asked Yutori and she revealed she did compensated dating. Shiho didn't want to dig deeper and promised she will never tell anyone. Shiho states she will never break a promise to a friend and Tenji believes her, as she was always like that. As the things got quite messy between the friends, Tsukino figures there must be indeed someone who tries to destroy their friendship and that may be why that person even started the Tomodachi game. Maria guesses that Makoto is the most suspicious, as he doesn't need the money and is jealous of the relationship between Shiho and Yuichi. The second most suspicious is Tenji, who knew that Shiho likes Yuichi and that Shiho had plastic surgery. Tsukino states that there should be one even more suspicious and thinking about it, Maria realizes it's Shiho, who knew all the secrets so far and could even badmouth herself. While they can't scratch out Yuichi yet, Yutori seems the most unlikely one. A distorted voice states it wishes the friends to break even more as that's why it stole the money. Earlier, during an independent study, after collecting the money, Shiho is ready to go and hand them to the teacher. However, a student informs her that another teacher calls her to the media room. As that is the opposite direction of where she needs to take the money, she decides to lock them in her locker. Makoto asks another student if he can copy his homework. The student suggests asking Yuichi, but Makoto explains he has been working more lately and is tired and sleeps right now. Taking the homework, Makoto then sits on his desk and starts copying it. The person with the distorted voice then heads towards the locker, but bumps into Yutori, causing her to drop her stuff. As paper spreads, Yutori realizes the person must have seen what's on it and explains she is drawing manga, wanting to become a pro one day. While she explains it and gathers her things, the person manages to get the money. Yutori then notices her pen made a small cut under the person's eye, but the person states it would be fine and no one will notice. Tenji then looks at Makoto getting excited about the nasty face he has and wonders if he lost interest in Shiho due to the plastic surgery. He comments that she did had surgery, but it wasn't cosmetic, but to cover a facial scar she got in junior high. Tenji then reveals he knows every secret as he has been secretly watching Shiho and knows where she keeps her locker spare key. He gifted her an anti-theft alarm keychain, which actually has a listening device, making him able to hear every personal conversation, including the one with Yutori about her compensated dating. Tenji has a cut under his eye, but since it's close to his glasses, barely anyone noticed. Tenji intends to break all of Shiho's relationships with the rest and when everyone leaves her and she is alone, he plans on telling her sweat things to see how she will react. Tenji believes Shiho as in reality he is the one that wrote all the rumors. Except two related to Makoto and Yuichi taking baths and believes they have badmouthed each other to help Shiho get out of the first place. Since Tenji believes Shiho, she wonders who badmouthed Yutori, but Tenji tells her to not look for villains or they won't be able to restore their friendship. Tenji believes he destroyed Yutori's feelings for Shiho and now needs to destroy Shiho's feelings for Yutori and wonders if Yutori wrote the badmouth herself. He points out that Yutori likely likes Yuichi and due to the badmouth, she is currently very close with him. She now learned that Shiho likes Yuichi and knew she didn't stand a chance if she was against Shiho. So maybe she badmouthed herself to elicit sympathy from Yuichi and blamed Shiho so that she looks bad. Manabu asks them to continue and Yuichi asks Tenji to go first. Inside the room, Tenji wonders on what to write in order to destroy Shiho and Yutori's relationship, but realizes that he has the lowest points and that may draw suspiciousness on him, and decide to write something about himself. When he exits the room, he sees Yuichi slapping Shiho for saying that Yutori wrote the bad mouth herself. Shiho states that when a woman wants something, she is ready to play dirty and Yutori confirms, stating it's the same as when people do plastic surgery to get more pretty. Shiho gets annoyed and reveals that her plastic surgery was to cover a scar she got. Shiho doesn't care if Yutori doesn't believe her, but if she keeps attacking her, she will stop trusting Yutori. Yutori doesn't care either as long Yuoshi believes her. Tenji gets excited that Shiho and Yutori friendship is breaking and Shiho and Yuichi starts to get strained too. Tenji goes to Shiho and tells her he will trust her no matter what. The rest then go in and give their bad mouths. Manabu gathers the bad mouths and states there are two this time, making Tenji wonder what is the other one. Manabu reads that Shiho usually wears men's boxers, usually gray or black. Shiho immediately blames Yutori, making Tenji believe it's Yutori's revenge. Manabu then reads the second one, which states that Tenji is lying about his age. Yuichi asks him about it, and Tenji reveals he isn't really lying, but he is a year older than the rest. In high school, he had some problems and ended up dropping out for 1 year. However, Tenji then states that only he and Shiho should have known about it. Shiho denies it and Tenji states he believes her, but explains that she is getting more and more isolated by the others. However, he will always believe her and she must stay by his side. Shiho ends with the most votes, followed by Tenji. As they move spaces, Shiho steps on a space that allows her to nominate anyone. The Tomodachi game made their own investigation and will reveal a bad mouth for one of them. Then the gods will vote if it's forgivable or not, and depending on the amount of unforgivable votes, the person will move from 0 to 10 spaces. Tenji starts to worry, because if Shiho picks him, everyone may learn that he stole the money and applied for Tomodachi game. Manabu then wonders if she will vote for Yutori, to get back at her, or for Makoto, who is in last place, or maybe for Yuichi, to learn the secrets of her loved one. Although it may not be a good idea to vote for Tenji, as he is her ally now, it may end up being good choice as she trusts him and he may not be guilty of anything. Shiho prepares to pick Tenji, but Makoto steps up, wanting she to choose him. He has been thinking for a while and had said some mean things, but wants to remain friends with everyone. Tenji realizes that after he learned she didn't do plastic surgery to get prettier, he is trying to get her back. Makoto believes there is nothing he has to hide and Shiho chooses him. Manabu then reveals pictures of Makoto's father, who had abused and sexually harassed his secretary, has taken bribes, and recently used some money to cover a scandal. Maria believes there is nothing to worry as it's not his crimes, but Tsukino gives an example how parents would tell their kids to not play with a kid of a criminal. Shiho tells Makoto that it's his father and not him, so she has nothing against him, but Tenji jumps in, telling her to stay away from him. Tenji then asks Makoto if he really haven't done anything and suggests that it isn't normal for someone to volunteer to be voted and that his father may have used his money to cover for Makoto. Tenji manages to convince the others to stay away from Makoto. The gods then vote 99% unforgivable and Makoto ends up moving 10 spaces. Tenji believes Makoto is isolated, and wonders if he should finish him off in the next round. Manabu announces there is only one bad mouth and it's about Makoto, which he finds quite cringe. Manabu then reads that Makoto had killed a person. Tenji is surprised as he didn't wrote that, and actually didn't write anything this round to not stir things and became suspicious. Tenji then notices Yuichi's wicked smile and guesses it was him. Tsukino states that Yuichi must have already been setting something up. Tenji believes he has the right to rob Shiho of everything as she already robbed him of the most important thing for him. Tenji is ready to crush even Yuichi if he gets in his way. Manabu asks Makoto if he really killed a person and Makoto denies it. Tenji believes Makoto haven't killed anyone and thinks that Yuichi is behind this badmouth, and wonders if he has some kind of plan. Manabu asks Makoto if he can prove it's a lie, but Makoto doesn't know how. Manabu then turns to the gods, letting them vote to decide if they believe Makoto or not. Makoto tries to explain to the gods, he is innocent and that when he got in trouble, his father always helped him out. However, the gods don't believe Makoto and vote 99% against him, making him gain 5 more spaces and take the lead. Yuichi approaches Makoto and tells him that he believes him and that this is proof that one of them is a traitor and is trying to destroy their friendship. Not only that, but Yuichi states he figured out who the traitor is. He blames him for all the bad mouths and states there is no point in arguing among themselves as only one person is guilty. Yuichi then states he won't yet reveal who the traitor is as he figured a strategy to win the game. Yuichi shares that the game have been bugging him since the beginning and it isn't fair at all. They trusted each other at the beginning and moved together, but their debt increased by 3 million for a game with a reward of 2 million. Since there is an audience, it means there is management too. And an unfair game isn't fun to watch. That made Yuichi conclude one thing. He recalls that in the 6th period, Yutori debt went by 200k. Manabu also said that the game is normal Suguraku and in the normal Suguraku there are positive and negative spaces, which keeps the game fair and fun. Yuichi then states that if you go from the beginning to the end, the positive and negative will balance out at the end. Maria confirms it, and says that in the badmouth Suguraku to discourage people from moving together, they have put the negatives mostly in the first half. However, she feels they figured it out too late. The group also feels the same way. Yuichi states that the trouble with the game is that you don't know who wrote what. But from now on, except the person on top, the rest will write bad mouths for themselves only. That way, if someone doesn't have a bad mouth it will mean they are the traitor. The group agree, but Tenji is against it. He wants Yuichi to say who the traitor is and everyone to just vote for the traitor. Yuichi doesn't want that as it will force the traitor to play the third game alone, which he finds too cruel. Tenji tells him that if they end up wasting time and this doesn't work, he wants him to name the traitor, but if he doesn't have proof, he will never trust him again. The 8th period starts and Yuichi believes there should be only 4 badmouths, however, Manabu comes out and states there are 10. Manabu states he is disappointed in Yuichi. If they could write only one card, his plan could work, but since they can put more, one of them had put a lot more than the rest. Tenji states he saw that coming and wants Yuichi to name the traitor now. Yuichi apologizes, stating he bluffed and didn't know if there was a traitor. Tenji then pulls Shiho and convinces her to stay with him, and feels that he won and will be able to have his revenge on her. The game then proceeds with the friends not talking or looking at each other. At the 19th period, Shiho is one space away from winning the game. Maria feels the game will end like all other badmouth Suguraku. Tsukino feels the same way and that Yuichi's wits were not enough for the traitor, but feels something is off. She immediately rewinds the video, noticing something and noting that Yuichi's something else and the game isn't over. Yuichi then states he has an idea that will make the traitor expose himself. Tenji doesn't want to listen, but Yuichi states either way, they can't stop Shiho from finishing first. Makoto then wonders why he wants to reveal him now. Yuichi explains that one of the rules state there is a penalty for being caught lying. And with combination of his earlier strategy of badmouthing themselves, everyone except the traitor will be able to go to the next game. With the last badmouth votes, Yuichi writes the names of everyone on 5 cards and asks them to write the same thing, which will be true for only the traitor. Tenji wonders if such a badmouth exists and Yuichi confirms, stating to write that they are the one who applied to play Tomodachi game. Yuichi believes the traitor chose the game to destroy their friendship, so the applicant and the traitor must be the same person. If they all write the same thing, only the traitor will say the truth and won't get penalized. And with the penalty, everyone will have to go in front of Shiho and reach the goal. Tenji wonders how he will prove the lie, but Yuichi states there is no need for him to prove anything, as the management should know who applied for the game. Yuichi wanted all to clear the game at the same time, but as that won't be possible, he decided they should clear it without him, and only true friends will end up playing in the third game. Tenji states he can't guarantee they will all write the same thing, but Yuichi points out that will mean they are the traitor. Yuichi then asks Tenji to go first and while inside the box, Tenji wonders what to do, but figures he will say that he was forced to apply for the game. Tenji decides to cry to gain sympathy, but Yuichi doesn't buy it. Yuichi grabs Tenji and giving him a scary look, he asks him if he applied for the game and Tenji confirms. Maria gets excited, wondering if Yuichi realized that Tenji was the traitor. Tsukino states that if she rewatched it from the start of the second game, she can see 3 abnormalities. Yuichi reveals he had a plan to set traps and reveal the traitor even before the second game started. After the 3rd period and the badmouth that Shiho dated Tenji, Yuichi and Shiho had decided to work together without the others knowing. They done it without talking much and Yuichi giving instructions to Shiho with the cards. Tsukino confirms that this was Yuichi's first trap. She tells Maria to rewatch the footage from the 4th period, where she can see that Yuichi took 2 cards and had a pen. But when he came out, he told Shiho he put a blank card. Tenji realizes that while tapping Shiho on the shoulder, he gave her a card with instructions, which she read when she got inside the box. Tenji wonders how Yuichi could trust her, and Yuichi reveals he didn't trust her at first, but tested her. His first instruction was for Shiho to use the secret Yuichi had told her about him, which was that once he didn't take a bath for a week. Knowing that Shiho wrote that badmouth, Yuichi knew that the other badmouths were done by the traitor and not by her. Yuichi then decided to test Yutori, and on the 5th period, he gave her a card, telling her that Shiho is on their side and she must keep pretending to fight her to smoke out the traitor. And on the next period to submit a secret about Shiho that only Yutori knows. During the 6th period, Yutori submitted that Shiho wears men's boxers, but since there was another Bix expose, Yuichi knew that one was from the traitor, which clears Yutori. The badmouth was that Tenji lies about his age, which only he or Makoto could have written. Tenji wonders how he kept informing Shiho as he stayed close to her, but then realizes it's when he slapped Shiho. Tsukino explains that was the second trap. While it normally wouldn't matter, Yuichi controlled the order in which people go into voting. And with a special chance, Yuichi knew that it would be too risky for the traitor to volunteer, thus when Makoto volunteered, it cleared him too, and that left Tenji as traitor. Tenji realizes that the plan Yuichi proposed of them writing bad mouths about themselves was also part of his plan, and Yuichi confirms. He explains he knew it had holes, but when he mentioned that their debt won't increase, Tenji didn't back off, which made Yuichi realize he was betraying them for something different than money. As they still had to finish the game, exposing Tenji could have made him gone wild and write much more badmouths. In the last period, Yuichi asked Tenji to go first and then told everyone else to put blank cards. Tenji feels that doesn't make sense since everyone can write more than one badmouth, and this elimination he did, shouldn't work. Tsukino states that was Yuichi's third trap. Yuichi confirms, and explains that he also asked them to give him proof of their friendship. As Tenji looks at them, he realizes they are missing their nameplates. Since they weren't the traitors, they easily gave their nameplates. Maria is impressed that Yuichi figured that giving the nameplate doesn't double the debt. Tsukino guesses he tested it, as before the 4th period he was missing his name tag, likely giving it to Shiho and then taking it back. As in a way he was saying that he won't trust them if they don't give him the nameplates. Not wanting to be isolated, they all agreed. Tenji wonders why he left him as last, and if it was some mistake he done, which made him the most suspicious. Yuichi explains he knows them very well and he became suspicious of Tenji as he didn't act normally during the game. The Tenji he knows is smart and calm, and would always step in to break an argument. However, at the start of the game, he picked a fight with Makoto and blamed him for the bad mouth, but Makoto couldn't tell secrets about them as they never told any secrets to Makoto. The rest confirm that they avoid telling secrets to Makoto as he has a big mouth and is kinda an idiot. Yuichi believes that Makoto even wrote a bad mouth for himself, revealing he took baths with his mother in order to protect Shiho, and when Yutori's secret was revealed, he was just trying to cheer her up, but since he is an idiot, it sounded a bit different. Yuichi didn't believe Makoto would be able to keep the act and only told him everything in the last period while Tenji was in the room. Tenji realizes that it's indeed suspicious when he tried to blame Makoto, who obviously couldn't pull all that. Manabu states the game isn't over and even though they found the traitor, Shiho is still about to lose. Yuichi then approaches Manabu and whispers something. Shocked, Tsukino and Maria quickly check it up and confirm to Manabu it's true. Manabu then declares the game is over and Yuichi reached the goal alone. Manabu reveals that Yuichi wrote a false badmouth in the 7th period and had just confirmed it. As such, he gets a penalty and goes one space ahead of Shiho, and clears the game. Yuichi explains they are likely wondering why Tenji did it, but they should speak with him while Yuichi plays the third game alone, and decide if they should forgive him or not. Yuichi explains he had done horrible things in the past which he kept a secret, fearing that if they learned them, they couldn't stay friends. Yuichi wrote a badmouth that Makoto killed a person, but that was a lie as Yuichi is the one who killed someone. Tsukino is surprised to discover that Yuichi had sent 3 people to their deaths. Manabu states that the third game is rough and almost impossible to clear alone, and Yuichi would regret acting like a hero, but Yuichi wonders who is going to regret it more. Yuichi's friends acted as a safety for him to keep living a clean life, but now without them, he can let loose his real him, and destroy Manabu and the management during the third game. Manabu states that Yuichi is scary and tells his friends that he is a murderer who killed 3 people. They wonder if it was in an incident, but Manabu denies it. Makoto starts turning against Yuichi, but Tenji tells him sometimes people have to do things they can't talk about, and someone like Makoto, who had a good life, can't understand it. As his friends argue, Yuichi states that if he has to deal with such noise, it's better to not have friends. He states that they are only dragging him down and increase his debt. Manabu tells them to say some encouraging words to Yuichi as he is going into a hellish third game, but no one says anything, making Manabu comment that no one wants to be a friend with a murderer. Yuichi prepares to jump alone, but Tenji stops him. He turns to Manabu and states he also said a lie, which is the bad mouth of him dating Shiho. Tenji admits he wanted to destroy the fiendship, so that he can keep Yuichi to himself as he likes him. Maria states that he is making it up, but Tenji is prepared to prove it and heads and kisses Yuichi, and then jumps down with him. Tsukino believes that Tenji must still have an objective, as this is his second Tomodachi game. This was the recap of first part of this anime. If you want next part, then comment down. If you enjoyed this video, then give it a like, and also be sure to subscribe the channel.